Good evening and welcome to this edition of the MG EVs Community Podcast. We're here to discuss MG EVs, hoping to inform and entertain you for up to an hour. I'm Tom Sedge, T Sedge on the forum. I live in Paynton, Devon, and I'm currently driving the MG4, still driving it. It's coming up for 3 years now that you see in the picture behind me, but I'm very excited to hopefully get something else soon, and we'll see what we're going to talk about tonight in that respect. And joining me tonight are from Wigan in England, Les Burrows. Welcome, Les.
Hi, Tom. Hi, everybody. My name's Les Burrows, same name on the forum. I'm currently driving the MG5 yet and the MG4, both just over 3 years old now, and no problems.
Fantastic. And as ever, from Chorley Group MG in England, the Innovation Development Manager, Miles Roberts. Welcome, Miles.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, Miles Roberts, CG on the forum. Currently not driving an MG, but hopefully very soon.
Aha, we're excited to hear what it might be. Many thanks to all of our premium members, Sloucher, MGBGT 2ZS, Very Fat Bloke, EV Cog, Baloo and Big Bear. And if you like what we do at MG EVs, please support us by becoming a premium member. Right, in tonight's podcast, we're going to catch up with the IM5 and IM6 again. It's been a while since we introduced them and ask a bunch of the questions that you've had to better understand these vehicles. And if we have time, we may carry on to other topics. So the IM5 and IM6. Let's kick it off, Miles, by telling people what the target market is for these vehicles, because I think people are confused as to who they're aimed at and what kind of buyer. I've heard that the IM5 is bigger than a Tesla Model 3, but not as big as a Model S, things like that. So could you give us a bit of introduction into who are these cars for?
Yeah, so the IM5 is a luxury saloon car aimed at the sort of person that would usually choose a BMW 5 Series, Mercedes C-Class or E-Class perhaps. It's 5 meters long, just over, so it's a big, long car. And it puts it size-wise similar to a Tesla Model S. So it is a bigger class of vehicle than the Tesla Model 3. However, the price point of the car has been pitched so that effectively it competes with the Tesla Model 3 on price. So the starting price of the IM5 is 39,495, and that means that when you even add metallic paint on and things like that, it still comes in under the magic £40,000 mark, which in the UK means that you don't have to pay luxury car tax. Now that entry-level model's with a 75 kilowatt-hour battery. If you go for the 100 kilowatt-hour battery, which is the long-range version, that's a few £1,000s more. So that then does get you the luxury car tax, but you get a useful chunk of extra range, up to 441 miles they claim on WLTP for that model.
Okay, so you mentioned the 5 Series of Mercedes. Are there other EVs, maybe from other makers, that are also competing with it? Other things that you would put in the same bracket?
I mean, really, we're sort of looking at, I suppose, cars like the BMW iX4, so the i4, sorry, the Mercedes, again, this sort of ELC, sort of ELE, yeah, right. That sort of, again, sort of luxury exec saloon.
What are the Polestars?
Probably Polestar 4 size-wise, and right. Probably, like, if we're looking at Kia, it's slightly bigger than the EV6, and it's bigger than a Ioniq 6 as well. So it's a big, long car. It's not, but again, price wise, if you compare it against something like the Hyundai Ioniq 6, that starts about £10,000 more than the IM5. So I think that it's price wise, it's really competitive, and that's again that's. One of the benefits of MG is that they always seem to be very cost competitive. And then the IM6, the IM6 being the sort of SUV variant, it's actually, I think, about 5 centimeters shorter overall than the IM5. But apart from that, it basically looks like it's been stretched upwards. So in the same way as a Tesla Model Y is like a Tesla Model 3 that's been sort of squished, if you're the old anamorphic DVDs, if you didn't have the right ratio on your TV, it used to sort of stretch it upwards. It's kind of like that. So it's a higher riding. They both got the same level of kit. The only difference being is that at launch the IM6 comes with only the option of 100 kilowatt-hour battery, so there's no smaller battery option on the IM6. The IM6 also comes with massaging driver's seat, which you don't get on the IM5. And on the IM6 launch edition, you get air suspension, which you don't have as an option on IM5 at the state.
And just, because people do talk a lot about Teslas, and I've heard people make comparisons that the approach with the IMs is much more Tesla-like, with fewer buttons, more screens, more stuff done through the screen. And obviously, visually, there's some resemblance, at least at the front, with the design. Why would you buy either of these over a Tesla? What is better in the IM's case?
I mean, some people politically now wouldn't choose Tesla because of the way that Elon has been acting over the last year or two. I think that's actually quite a big reason for a lot of people. I think the other thing as well is that just the IM models do look a little bit different to there's an awful lot of Teslas on the road. If you do a motorway journey in the UK, you can guarantee you're going to see a lot of Tesla Model 3s. And so if you want to have something that looks slightly different to the other white goods that are going up and down the motorway, then the IM5 offers and the IM6 offers that as a difference. Another thing as well is I think the performance is good. Again, these are bigger cars than the Tesla Model 3 and the Tesla Model Y. So for people who want a slightly bigger car, but for a similar source of money, that's good. That's a good idea. And there's a lot of kit included as standard. So the IM5 comes with panoramic roof as standard. It comes with four-wheel steering as standard. It comes with the larger Continental four-pot calipers and Brembo discs as standard. It has heated, ventilated seats as standard. It comes with a 20-speaker sound system, which sounds amazing as standard. And I think also people who don't like the single center display on a Tesla will perhaps choose the IM products because they've got a more standardized, driver display that then scrolls across into a central screen rather than being just in the center console. So if you like,
is it true that you've obviously got CarPlay and Android Auto as well?
CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly as standard as well. So yes, it's a very high level of kit, and I think that the level of fit and finish in the IM5. We did a comparison. My mate James Coates, who's got a YouTube channel, he's got a Tesla Model 3 Highland edition, which is the new facelift version. Thank you. And yes, we went down and compared the Tesla Model 3 Highland versus the IM5. And it was things like, he pointed out that, for example, their car as standard didn't come with tinted windows, so he had to he got them tinted on top of that, Right. The thing about the IM5 is it's a hatchback rather than a saloon. So although it looks sort of a similar sort of shape to the Tesla Model 3, the boot opening is perhaps more practical for people, particularly if you've got things like pets. You don't want to be chucking them into an enclosed boot. Whereas the IM5 is a hatchback, so you have actually got tailgate glass, and the dog can actually.
I think that's been the downfall of the Tesla Model 3. Actually, the fact that it's been a boot all the time. Everybody wants hatchbacks these days. Most people are looking for hatchbacks rather than boots.
Which is why a lot of people go for the Model Y instead, because it gives that extra practicality for them.
Yeah,
but then you're spending quite a lot more. I mean, how does the Y compare in price to the IM6?
It's again, I think at entry level point they're about the same. They're about sort of 48,000, 47,000 at retail price. I mean, one of the things as well that's different is that Tesla obviously has a very fixed pricing strategy because they don't have a franchise dealership model. MG runs through franchise dealerships, and that increases a bit of competition. And also there are some finance offers, and there are some
dealer offers as well.
Dealer offers. There's things like affinity deals as well.
Let's talk about that then. So, if somebody is thinking of buying one, what kind of deals can you get? Discounts.
So let me just have a quick look at my latest deals, because I'll be honest, I don't know them off the top of my head because got a lot going on at the moment. But in terms of the IM5, let's go a quick look. So I think we've got some good sort of PCH deals going on. So contracts, again, one of the concerns that people mention with EVs at the moment is depreciation. And being in a PCP type or a hire purchase type, more traditional car finance, some people are finding themselves, well, we've got people who've got MG4s, for example, that, the GFV or the final payments, £14,000, but the car's only currently valued at 10. So with PCH, I suppose the benefit of that is that it's not an issue either way. It's a higher rate.
Hand it back in 2 years, aren't you?
Yeah, hand it back in 2 or 3 years, whatever. So with the IM5 and the IM6, let's see what we've got. So the IM5 standard range, as an example, Chorley Group, where I work, they're doing a deal on 6,000 miles a year. Their PCP offer is £1,999 deposit and £389 a month for the standard range 75 kilowatt hour IM5. For the long range, so with the 100 kilowatt hour battery, that jumps up to a 3,999, so a £4,000 deposit and £449 a month. For the IM6, they start off with a 100 kilowatt hour battery long range. That's 3,999 and £449 a month as well on a PCP. So that's exactly the same price for the IM5 and the IM6. So I think that's pretty good actually. You've got
those numbers sound pretty good to me. I mean, what if somebody's a cash buyer and they come along? What kind of discounts would they be able to get off list?
So it depends actually, because if you're a standard resale customer and you're coming in, if you're a cash buyer, there are some cash in lieu offers for people that aren't taking finance. So as an example, you'd typically get a couple of £1,000 off, maybe off the standard range, and similar off the long range. But if you are an affinity qualifying customer, and that means that if you are a member of, say, the NHS or police or councils or local government teachers, or if you're a member of the MG owners group, the traditional MG car owners group, they'll qualify for the affinity pricing, and the discounts there can be quite significant. So the IM5 standard range drops from £39,500 down to about 31.5. So you're saving about £8,000 in that case. And there's similar sort of levels of discount on the higher specification models as well. So if you qualify for that sort of for the affinity deals, it's very worthwhile speaking to your dealer about that, because they can get you they can unlock some special deals for you.
That sounds great. And if somebody was to order it today, I mean, everyone's sort of wondering when a lot of people on the forum have ordered cars waiting for delivery. What is the current lead time? Does anyone who hasn't?
Basically the demonstrators arrived in September. The first sort of tranche of actual customer cars is due in November. If you were to place an order today and there wasn't one of those cars already coming on a boat, then you're looking at about 3 months. So you're looking at probably sort of January time for the car. But speak to your dealer, because they can see the full sort of swathe of what's on the water, and they can steer you one way or the other if you particularly need a car sooner.
Are we expecting supply to increase next year? Or is it are they limiting the number they make for the UK? They're
not limiting it, no. And one thing actually that's different with the IM versus the Cyberster, for example. Cyberster was only available at a select number of dealerships of MG, whereas IM is available at all MG dealerships.
Right.
So we're going to see.
By the same token, you can service it anywhere, presumably.
Correct. So all MG dealerships have got staff which have been sent on training courses to be able to service and maintain the IM5 and the IM6.
Oh, great. Okay.
What about
improvement?
What about warranties, Mal? Is it the same as any other MG, or is it a different one?
Exactly the same as the other MGs. So it's the 7-year limited warranty on the car, and 8 years, 100,000 miles on the battery. It's exactly the same warranty documents. So if you go on to mg.co.uk, you can /warranty, you can see the exclusions, the inclusions, what's involved there. So it's identical. The one thing I haven't mentioned actually about the sort of performance of the IMs. So initially, all dealerships were allocated 2 cars. One was an IM5 long range, and the other one was an IM6 performance or launch edition. Now the IM5 long range has got about 400 brake horsepower electric motor, rear wheel drive. The IM6 performance version is 741 brake horsepower. 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, 149 miles an hour top speed. It's fast. It's fast. Now, I'll be honest, having driven the different variants of the car, because I had a chance to drive them down at Millbrook as well. I think that actually the long range 400 brake horsepower is plenty.
Yeah.
You don't really need 740 brake horsepower.
Still sub 6 seconds, not 60, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 5 seconds, 0 to 60
seconds,
on the which is fast. I mean, numbers of if it's 0 to 60 these days has come silly. I mean, I remember when I had an Alpha 145 Cloverleaf, and that did 0 to 60 in I think 7.5 seconds, and I thought that was a rocket ship.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I think that 5 seconds feels very, very, very fast.
Well, I remember the original Golf GTI, and that only had about 110 horsepower. I think it was
Yes.
9.5 or something, but it felt really fast. Yeah, we've become used to a lot more. Any clue on what people are buying? Which variant is selling more in the early sales?
On the IM5, it's the long range 100 kilowatt hour rear wheel drive 400 brake horsepower. So there's the one that's sort of piquing the interest. I suppose because it's that sweet spot of it's 45 grand, 44.5 grand. So it does unfortunately qualify for the higher tax rate, but it's priced well on a PCP or on contract hire, and it's that bigger. It's that 400 plus mile range. I mean, real world, we did 320 miles, I think it was, and in the IM5 long range, but that was a long day. That was us setting off at 7:30 in the morning and coming back at 10 o'clock at night. The car was basically on the entire day because we were filming with it. We were motorway driving on cruise control at 70. So I think and again, it was something 9 degrees outside. So I think in real world driving in winter, 300 plus miles is very easy in that car. And I think if you were to be in summer, I think that 400 plus is very likely by virtue of the fact it's got a humongous battery. But the efficiency of it wasn't too bad, I think. I think we got 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour on our average, which I thought was pretty decent, really.
Sounds better than some have been suggesting it. Because, I mean, I have heard the comment that it's a big, heavy car. It's not very
It is.
efficient.
It's 2.2 tons. It's not. It's not light.
But I guess as your video showed, even though it's not as efficient as a Tesla because it's got such a big battery, it's got a better range.
Yeah, and again, it's not.
The Model 3 is about 78 kilowatts, isn't it? The Tesla Model 3 about 78 kilowatts.
Yeah, but it's about 500 kilos lighter as well, though. So I think that's the. But it's a smaller car. So again, that's the thing. It's in some ways it's an unfair comparison, but we don't. Tesla don't sell the Model S currently in the UK. So I can't do a comparison against the Model S very easily for a new one. I could compare it against a used one, but that's not it's not
would
the
you
genuine.
say, would you say that more people are interested in the IM5 or the IM6? Is there any indication of which model is going to sell better?
So my company car's up for renewal in March, and I've been trying to decide what to go for next. And as you guys made out, I've got a Hyundai Ioniq 5 at the moment, and I've got a choice of cars from the dealerships that we have. So we've got Kia, Hyundai, Citroen, Peugeot, Vauxhall, MG, Nissan. What else have I forgotten? We've got a lot of choice anyway. And last time I got the Ioniq 5 because it was price point really. It was for that it was I think they were offering us about 10 grand off to register that car because it had been in the showroom for a while. And it's been fine. It's been it's a nice car. It does in summer I get over 300 miles in it. In winter it's about 250. But I drive it. I've done 30,000 miles in it so far, so I do a fair distance. And at the moment, obviously we've got the cars like the Kia EV3, Kia EV4, Kia EV5, Kia EV6, Kia EV9, Ioniq 9, Ioniq 6, Ioniq 5.
So many.
We've got lots of different. Yeah, and there's even like Stellantis, there's cars like the Peugeot 3000A, which has got now a 97 kilowatt hour battery now, and so there are some long range options from other manufacturers like that. But at the moment, it's MG that's really sort of piquing my interest with this, and it's the IM products because I think for the price point, my Ioniq 5 was 45 grand.
Yeah.
And that's for the premium spec with a 77 kilowatt hour battery.
Yeah.
The premium is kind of like one up from
so
basic.
You're banging on the price of an IM5 long range, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
for
not
that,
accounting
I'm
for the
getting
inflation.
yeah, and I'm getting an extra 100 miles of range, and I'm getting a much nicer interior, and I'm getting a bigger car. Would I go for the IM5 or the IM6? The IM5, I think, drives better. And I don't particularly need the extra space, luggage space and things that you get in the IM6. The IM6 has got a bigger boot. You know, if you ever had two Alsatians, the IM6 would be the one to go for. But I have a Cocker Spaniel Cross Dachshund, so he's fairly compact. He fits in most cars. So, so yes, the IM5 would work fine for that. And I think the IM5 being lower down, actually, it drives better. I think it handles better.
Yeah.
How did you find the four-wheel steering, Mark? Did it feel anything different, or did it feel better? Or
so when you're out on the open road, the four-wheel steering adds a level of grip that you would normally expect it to feel as if it's got. If it was all-wheel drive, like the Audi Quattros, like I used to have an Audi A4 Quattro, that really grip on corners. You'd really feel sort of dig in, and you'd really feel confident with that. It gives you that even with the two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive that you've got in the IM5, and the four-wheel drive, obviously, just crazy performance. But it really gives a level of grip. Now, for manoeuvrability around town, for parking, for getting around narrow city streets, it's got such a good turning circle. My Ioniq 5 has got quite a poor turning circle. I think it's something like 8. I think the radius. I think it's something that's like 14 meters. Something like that is the diameter, is the sort of turning circle of my car.
Did I hear correctly that the IM5 is tighter than the Renault 5?
It's just. I think the IM5 is 9.98 meters turning circle, so it's actually tighter than the MG4.
Wow.
Despite being
well, I've got one of those, so yeah, that's quite a good turning circle. Yeah.
So compare. Bear in mind this is a 5 meter long car. It gives you a turning circle which
that's what I'm thinking.
More similar to a small city car. So it's drastic.
Does that offset the bulk? Because I think a lot of people are concerned, and I've seen this on the forum, that it's such a big car, being nearer up the Model S size, that it's too big for UK roads, too big for parking car parks, too big to manoeuvre.
I actually had no problems with it at all. Yeah, no, it feels a lot more manoeuvrable. It's really easy to place on the road. I think the visibility out is really good on both models. I think they've got plenty of glass to see through, which is good. It doesn't fit, and say because it's got that extra bit of turning, the tighter turning circle. You never feel like we did on our video with the Tesla. We did a sort of and if anyone hasn't watched that video, go to the Chorley Group YouTube channel. It's really good. But the after this, don't go now. But the yeah, the turning, so we did like a little sort of turn around in a junction on a B road, and it's the sort of thing where I know in my Ioniq 5 I would have been doing like a 3 or 4 point turn to try and get round that, and this just looped straight around. It was just crazy, and I say it is a big long car, but it surprises you with the manoeuvrability, and because of that, it feels smaller than it is. No, if you haven't test driven one, get a test drive, because I think it's really impressive what I managed to do.
Final thing
I've said it, but I've not driven it.
Yeah. Well, one final thing on pricing. Are there price increases coming? There seem to be some people reporting rumours that the prices are going up in the new year or in April. Do you know anything about that?
MG traditionally does do a reprice in January according to inflation. So that's what we've seen in the last few years, is that they look at pricing, and usually they try and keep it fairly minimal. On other models we've seen, like I think on the MG4 and the MG S5, we saw a price increase of about £100 or £200, something like that. So it was not a massive price increase by any means. Yeah. But again, if you're umming and ahhing over whether you should get the car, if the deal sounds right now and you've got a 3-month lead time, even if the car doesn't come till January, you lock in the price today. So
sure.
So and in the event as well that the price changed between now and January, and let's say the price dropped in January, you could potentially renegotiate for the price. You can either choose to keep the price you agreed in November, or you can go for the reprice in January, and if that's in your favour.
Right, but you're not aware. It's not some special introductory pricing that's only for a limited period.
No, not that I'm aware of. No, and I think that I said the good thing is that they've sort of gone out with offers straight away. Some car manufacturers launch a new model and then they're like, okay, we've chosen a price point which we think is fair, and we're not going to discount at all for the first few months and see how it goes. Yeah. MG's come out with some offers straight away, which I think is good. It shows that, the intent, and they obviously want to try and sell quite a lot of volume. I've heard rumours that they've sold way more cars than they thought they would in this initial ordering phase. I think it's been very popular on fleet. So your corporate sales, obviously, because of your car tax and your benefit in kind being so low.
It's still a good deal, isn't it? Even though the percentages have gone up a bit, it's still a good deal.
Well, the thing is, for a lot of people, it goes to so you might have a banding, let's say, for your company car, and they say, okay, you can have a car up to £500 a month on a lease, let's say. So that means that they might be looking at cars like the Kia EV3. They might be looking at cars like even like a Kona. And then suddenly they're looking at cars like the IM5 and they go, well, this is a class above vehicle. It's a bigger car. It's a more luxury car, but it's somehow in my price point. Whereas a Kia EV6 or a BMW i4 might be more sort of, £600-700 a month on the lease.
Let's move on to one of the biggest question areas people have with MGs always, which is, what is the damn software like? Because we've had good and bad in the past. I would say it's got more with the MG4, a bit of a checkered history, if I may say.
Yeah. Well, one good thing is it's got a Snapdragon processor, and it's got a Snapdragon processor on the infotainment system, so it's fast. It's really slick, and it is more Tesla-like than anything else. So if you've ever sat in a Tesla Model S and you've used the screens in that, this becomes very intuitive.
And is it a similar? I mean, does it? If it's similar to Tesla, it would feel very different to existing MGs. Is that
correct?
The case?
Yeah, completely different system. I mean, bear in mind in China, obviously, IM is a complete distinct brand from MG. It's only because they didn't fancy launching a brand new brand and new showroom system in the UK that we've called it the MG IM5. Otherwise, it'd just be the IM L5 or L6 or LS6, what they call it in China. So so it is a different car. It's like if you were to, I suppose, get a Lexus versus a Toyota. You've got Toyota. Let's say the MG3 is the Toyota Aygo, and this is these are like the Lexus RX 400H, whatever. This is this is the sort of flagship car. So it's a big world of difference in the software quality. In the general quality of the car, to be fair, as well.
And of course, what the next question is going to be. It's the second most asked question about software, which is, does it have over-the-air updates?
It has the capacity to do over-the-air updates. Have I seen it do over-the-air updates? No. But does it have the capacity to do it? Yes, it does. And this is something that I can't answer at the moment because...
No, okay, you haven't heard anything specific on that.
The car can do it. Yeah, the car can do it. Whether the servers in the UK are capable of rolling it out to the cars is another matter. But the cars physically can do over-the-air updates.
Okay. And
I think that would come with time.
I would hope so. I mean, it's been trailed a lot for past MGs, so I think if it doesn't start arriving soon, people are going to get quite skeptical. But with the MG S5, we saw an improved approach to the ADAS systems, the driver assistance systems, where you could finally turn off and persistently save your pilot settings. Do you have a similar system on the IMs?
I'll say
whether that.
Yeah, I will say yes, but I'm going to be deliberately vague on the basis that I was shown how to do it on the training course, and I can't remember how to do it.
Right.
There is a video on MG's got a YouTube channel which is linked to off their website. Where it's called You and Me or You and MG, and it's got a list of, it's basically like a user guide but in video formats, and they're great videos. And they actually do discuss how to do that, but I can't remember to tell you now how to do it. But it is on the video, so if you watch those videos, it's got a whole thing of a tutorial on how to do that. The ADAS system is massively improved over other models. I would say that the implementation of the cruise control. Again, it's like Tesla, so you've got the stalk for changing your drive modes. So you basically, for forward, reverse, park, whatever. So you push that down for drive, and then if you push it down again, that engages your cruise control, same as you would in a Tesla Model S. And if you do it down again further, then it does the lane keeping and all the rest of it. And it's got paddles on the back of the steering wheel for adjusting the distance to the car in front and for adjusting your speed and things.
And how did you find it work? I mean, was it seamless or was it sort of?
It was really good actually, yeah. And it does things like auto lane change. So if you indicate, it selects, it looks at the lane next to you, whichever way you're indicating, checks for a clear space, and then it will accelerate and indicate as it does.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think you have to pay for that on a Tesla, that particular feature. I think you can get a basic cruise control, lane keep, but I think some of those features, I could be wrong, but I recall some of those features like lane change are part of the, you have to start paying for some of the self-driving features, not the full self-driving, but there's different levels. So that's all included. That's good. And of course, talking Teslas, everyone wants to know, does it do a dash cam Tesla-like Sentry mode?
So
does it have that mode?
It doesn't have Sentry mode. So it does. It has a dash cam. So it's got 9 cameras in the car, each of them. But only the forward view is used for dash cam. There's an SD card slot under the armrest in the center console. You put your SD card in there. It can then save that data to the SD card, and it's a permanently recording looping system. So if it gets to the fill of the data, it'll start overwriting the oldest file.
Overwrites. Yeah.
And it's it works. It works really well. And it's really good clarity on it there as well. In fact, on the IM6 video that we put out on the Chorley Group YouTube channel, we put in some clips from the onboard dashcam in that, so you can sort of see the quality in that.
And it doesn't have a pet mode, is that right?
It doesn't have a pet mode, no. I mean, it's got the app, so you can change the, you can set a remote control timing thing, but it's not got a dedicated pet mode, no.
And what about precondition of the battery? Because quite a few people like to have the ability of doing that.
Yeah. So if with the built-in navigation, so it has got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but if you use the built-in navigation, that's got Tesla-type features where you can search a route that's longer than your range of your vehicle, and it will plot in charge points on your route, and it will tell you how much of a charge point, how much charge you need to put in, or what you'll have when you get there, and things.
Does that look like an evolution of the past MG navigation, or is it a completely new system as far as you can tell?
I believe it's a new system. I don't think it's using the same Navtech software. I think it's a new system. But yeah, it enables you to be able to plot the routes with charging stops, which is more Tesla-like. Now, it doesn't have the same level of Tesla integration, so it won't necessarily know that there's 5 stalls free out of 7 or whatever. It doesn't have that level of integration, but it will be able to route you to the charge points. And if it's on its way to a charge point, it will then precondition the battery to warm it if it needs to or cool it to get it to the right temperature for charging. So yeah, if you're using the in-car navigation, that is a feature. If you're using Google Maps, it doesn't do that smart feature.
No. Is there a particular charge point it leads you to, like Ionity or whatever, Reserve or whatever it is? Is it any particular brand?
It's very similar to Google Maps. It's got all of the it's got a grid serve, it's got Ionity, it's got all of the waypoints in that you'd expect to find on Google Maps.
Right, so it just picks out what it needs at the time.
Yeah, it won't necessarily have a preference as to Ionity over whatever else. It just, I suppose, actually, I don't know actually. I'll have to try.
Can you select that?
I don't know if you can select based on charging speed or
if you had a charge card for Ionity, for example, and you want us to use Ionity all the time, you could perhaps say.
I mean, when you it'll suggest charge points, and if as a waypoint, and if you can say, it'll give you a couple of options. So if say it was, if there was an Ionity and then it says, but 1 mile away there's a grid serve, and you knew that your grid serve was going to be cheaper, or a Tesla, for example, was going to be cheaper, you can select that instead. So it doesn't just give you one option; it does give you a selection.
Can it charge on Tesla?
On the ones that are open to other vehicles, yes, it can.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Yeah.
One thing I was going to say, actually, obviously Tesla chargers, some of them are limited to 150 kilowatts, some of them are 250.
Yeah.
Now the IM5 and the IM6 can both, the 100 kilowatt battery can both charge up to 397 kilowatts.
Yeah.
That's quite a big thing, because my Ioniq 5 has got 800 volt charging. But 800 volt charging, I've since found out, is a movable feast. So to most people, so for those that don't know, so most electric cars run on 400 volts nominal battery. And when you get to wanting to put really fast charge rates in, basically the way to do that is either you increase the current, but you get to a point where you need an awful lot of amps to be able to get much higher capacity, or you can double the voltage, and that gives you then a higher overall power, because it's power times amps. Power times amps is your volts times your amps is your power. So 800 volts is, in theory, double 400 volts. So therefore, it's gives potential for much bigger charge speeds. But what they call 800 volt charging work is actually classed anything between 600 volts and 900 volts. My Ioniq 5 charges up to 233 kilowatts on an 800 volt charger, but that's got a nominal voltage of 675 volts, whereas the IM5 and the IM6 go up to 875 volts. So because of that, much higher voltage, that's why they get to 397 kilowatts. And when we saw it on
800 isn't necessarily 800. It could be more or less depending on the car.
It's just a rating that they use for anything between 600 and 900. So when we used it on an Ionity charger, which was rated at 350, we saw 343, I think it was, and that was on a cold day with no preconditioning at all.
It certainly does seem quick. I mean, sometimes people are worried, because there have been some cars that only charged on 800 and couldn't charge on 400.
Oh yeah, the new Mercedes does that. Yeah, the new Mercedes only charges on the fast charge.
But the IM5 will charge on either. Is that right?
Oh yeah. And we've had it. I mean, well, at Burnley we're on a obviously we've got a DC charger with it, so it's on 22 kilowatts because we haven't got enough power at the unit. It takes 4 hours to charge it, but it will charge at 22 kilowatts DC on CCS. But we took it to the Ionity charger at Blackburn. It was 17 minutes from 9% to 80%.
Oh, that is fast. Yeah, too fast for me. But I know there are some people that need it if they're traveling and they're really
definitely. People who, salesmen and whatever, you've got to be at a certain place at a certain time. They look for it, don't they?
Absolutely. One thing that people always ask, even though I'm not sure how much difference it makes these days, does it have a heat pump?
I don't think it does. I can't remember them telling us about it. I'm sure that they would have mentioned it if it did. I don't think it has a heat pump.
My experience is that heat pumps don't always make as much difference as people think they do. But it may depend.
If you're a manufacturer of a car that has a heat pump, you scream about it because you know that people think it's going to make it much more efficient. Yeah. But I've seen comparisons of cars which had a heat pump versus ones that didn't, and the real world range difference is minimal. It does vary very massively depending on the length of journey that you're doing, the type of journey that you're doing, the speed that you're driving. Yeah. Because if you're doing a really long journey, proportionally less of the energy is used for heating. Whereas if you're doing lots of short journeys, a larger proportion is used for the heating. So that will have a bigger effect.
Winter trip to the shops where you think, oh my God, I'm only getting 2-point-something miles per kilowatt hour, but it's because you're doing short journeys with the heater on max, the fan on max, defrosting, heated seats, your heated steering wheel, the whole shebang. Yeah. Okay. Well, one other thing that people have said, I've seen in the forums and also in reviews, is the visibility out the rear. Now, for those that don't know, it's somewhat restricted in the 5, in particular, and there is a small rear view mirror, but you can fold that away. And there's a screen that comes up to give you a camera view. So as someone who's driven it, Miles, what's your experience of this? Is this a problem? Is it not an issue? And why?
So, the view out of the rear window is similar to that on a Lamborghini in that you've basically got a letterbox that you're looking out of. And we're having 3 headrests in the back, and the slope of the rear window, it basically it's very minimal what you can see out of that rear window, and part of the way they've overcome that is by using a camera. So they've got a camera which goes it's mounted to the top of the back of the sort of shark fin aerial on the roof, and then that faces back down. So it's not the same one as a reversing camera that's low down by the sort of number plate. It's higher up.
Strange fisheye lens.
No, so it's higher up. It does still have the reversing camera for the 360 cameras and things. But for the rear view camera, it's mounted higher up on the back of the spoiler, and it's on the back of the DAB aerial, and it's It gives a really good view out, actually. So you just use again, the car's got minimal buttons on the steering wheel. You scroll up the thumb wheel on the right-hand side, and that one click, and that gives you your rear view camera. So it's a real sort of quick, easy way to just get the reversing camera on. That overlays in the center.
In the center of your
so basically between the driver display and where your CarPlay would be. So that long, it's like a 30-inch widescreen display they've got there. So basically, bang in the middle of that, that's where and it's actually because that display sits quite high in your eye line because it's like towards the top end of the dashboard. It feels a bit more like a heads-up display in some ways, and actually, it's probably when you're looking at the reversing camera, the rear view camera there, it actually feels like a more natural position for a rear view camera compared to if it was, say, lower down in the lower screens that you sometimes have. Like when you're reversing, a lot of cars have for many years have had a reversing camera which will pop up on the sat-nav screen, and typically that's lower down in the dashboard, and that's really something you've got to glance down at. But this sits a lot higher. It sits in a similar position, I suppose, probably higher than...
How did you get on with it after you'd driven it for a while? Was it a problem? Or
not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. But I mean, I've also driven lots of vans and things, so I'm used to having no rear view. But certainly, it was not an issue to me, at least. I think that for me, I'd probably use the small interior mirror more if I had young children in the back that I wanted to be able to keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
But most of the time, by folding it about the way.
Asking about the screens, Miles, the screens, what's the icons like? Are they still quite small like the MG4 is and the others?
No, I mean, the fact that they've got so much more screen real estate to be able to play with.
They're a bit bigger.
They've been able to, the really high resolution, the clarity is really good. And the actual tiles themselves are quite big, clunky buttons. So on the lower central screen, which sort of sits in the lowest part of the center console, that's where all of your controls are for things like your Tesla type functions. It's got things like if you got the IM6, it's where you change your air suspension. It's got all that sort of jazz in it. They're quite big tiles, and you can also configure them and move them around as well. So if you've got certain things that you use more often, you can set like certain widgets to be faster and stuff. So all good.
All the preferences. It's good.
Stuart's been doing the research in the background, and both the IM5 and IM6 reportedly do have a heat pump. I don't know why they haven't been emphasising that to you, but that's what various media outlets are saying.
No, cool. If it's got a heat pump, great. Great. I'll take a heat pump if it's free and it's included as standard. So, whereas I think some cars, like I say the EV3, I think it's £1,000 option for a heat pump. I wouldn't take it in that case.
Yeah, no, normally. I mean, the car's either got enough range or it hasn't. And if it has, it doesn't matter. If you could make it more efficient by spending more. It's the way I view it.
Yes.
So a few people have sort of said, well, hang on a minute. We saw this Chinese car with this big front hump for the Lidar system and some fantastic, self-driving facilities related to that. But it comes over here and we have nothing like that. So, and also that it had a yoke and some of the show car versions, and we have nothing like that. Do you have an understanding of why we haven't been offered things like that?
There's a big difference between the roads in China and the roads in the UK. So as an example, in China, a lot of the highways, each lane is about a metre wider than they are in the UK. And so the roads are massively bigger. Now that gives you a lot more space to move around. It also means that the configuration for all these sensors and things needs redoing when they bring it to the UK.
Right.
A lot of the issue we have in the UK is that we have narrow roads, and you have 60-mile-an-hour roads in the UK, like the ones we've got near us, which are basically single track roads with hedges both sides and things like that.
Yeah.
It brings a lot of challenges. It brings a lot of challenges. So it's and the third thing I suppose is going to be cost. It's not just the cost of what the car would end up being costing, which obviously they were pitching it very strongly to try and get it close to the price of the Tesla Model 3 in this case. But the cost of then reconfiguring all those systems for the UK market, and how much extra value would people put on that to be able to help cover that development cost? If the car was going to cost an extra £5,000 but it had LiDAR, would people pay that? it might be something we see in the future, but at the moment, I think they just wanted to get the car out and at the right price.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So have you tried the auto park at all? Because I've heard some people report it's very fast and they're a bit nervous about it. And we've had manufacturers have auto park systems before that haven't always been everything they
Yeah.
cracked up.
So, and this is it is very quick. It's very confident. It's very quick, and it works really, really well. The shock is if you've driven another. Oh yeah, Stuart's putting the video up now, which shows us doing it.
Yeah.
If you've done self-parking in another competitive car before, you know that the hazard lights go on. There seems to be about a 4-minute wait whilst it thinks about what it's doing, and then it slowly reverses back at a pace which would make the old lady that plays the organ at the local church think that it was a bit sedate. So I think that if you're used to those sort of systems, then yeah, the IM6 basically reverses like you might expect a confident driver. I'm not saying it's quite as fast as Russ Swift. It doesn't do handbrake turns and stuff, but it reverses into spaces faster than you probably would do it yourself, or certainly as fast as you would do it yourself. So the benefit is, it gets it over and done with it really quickly, and the whole point of these systems is that it should make it easier for you. It should make it quicker.
Yeah.
There's no point, I think, in having these systems if it's quicker to do it yourself.
Yeah.
It's got 3 different types of parking. It does parallel parking. It does reverse bay parking. It can also pull out of a space for you. So if you're in a narrow space and you think, "Oh crikey, I'm going to get out the front of this," you can press a button. It will pull out of the space for you. And using the sensors around the car and steering and everything. So
you have to stay in it. It's not like Summon on the Tesla.
Yeah, no, you're sitting in the car.
In
Yeah.
the car.
Yeah.
It still
But
sounds
you
good.
choose
I mean, I like the idea of all that.
And then the last part of the trick, which I think we've shown on one of the videos, is you can reverse along the path you came in on. So if you go in into a car park and then you get to a dead end and it's been, somebody's parked in the bit where you're supposed to drive out of or whatever, and you think, "Oh God, how am I going to get back out of this?" You just press a button, it reverses along the path that you drove in on. So
That's handy.
Yeah, so
if you got in, you can get out again.
yeah, and it'll take you literally. So we did a test where we drove like on a bit of a loopy course around this, admittedly fairly empty car park, but it followed the same path all the way back.
That's good, especially with the potentially being nervous about the rear visibility if you're not used to the car.
Yeah, and again, it's got 9 cameras, so the reversing cameras and everything are really good. It's got crab mode as well. I don't think I'd ever use that, but yeah, it does have crab mode.
Yeah. And I've also heard that it's rather Tesla-like in that you don't get the conventional 2 keys. Can you explain what comes with the cars?
So rather than the traditional MG looking keys, which obviously with the Cyber still looks a bit like the Roaring Raindrop, or what they called it, the little race car. This actually looks a bit like the key that you get with the Tesla. It's a little Matchbox style car, like a black plastic car silhouette that you can hold down the roof, and that unlocks it and unlocks it and things. So that's quite fun. And it also comes with a key card, which is an RFID type card, which you can tap onto the driver's door pillar to unlock or lock the car.
That's also like
and
Tesla,
also, and you can also use your phone as a key as well. Using the iSmart app, you can unlock it and lock it.
Well, it's got a lot of the features that the Tesla's got. It's got a hell of a lot of features that the Tesla's got, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, would say imitation is the most sincere form of flattery?
Yeah, 100%.
And a few minor questions people have had. Does it have automatic high beams?
It's got auto high beams. It doesn't have matrix lights like the Tesla.
Right.
So that's a bit of a downer, but it does have auto high beams. And to be fair, the LED lights were brilliant. We drove back, so it was about sort of 10 o'clock at night by the time we got home from filming with James, and it was, perfectly good visibility.
And does it have that thing that some cars have where as you approach it unlocks, as you walk away it locks?
No, that's not. Okay. It doesn't have that. It does. No, it doesn't have it approach. No, it doesn't present the door handles on approach. No, you got to lock it or unlock it.
Okay.
Not a big deal, is it?
No, but I mean, people have obviously interested in how similar it is and what the differences are. I presume it's got an eSIM in the car and it's data connected, and then the app works. It's the same app. Is that right?
Same iSmart app as with the other MG products, the
Yeah.
same eSIM that we've seen in other products. I believe it's got the same 1 GB fair use policy on the data per month. Whether that's something that they change to a subscription type thing in the future where you can add on more data, I don't know. I know a lot of manufacturers have gone to that sort of system where you can, buy upgrades for the data or connection or the type of thing. Hyundai used to be 3 years free full version of the app with everything on it, and now it's changed to 12 months and then you have to upgrade. So I think a lot of car manufacturers are seeing the app as a service sort of hook as a way of getting more revenue from a car that doesn't break as often as a petrol or diesel car.
Oh, cracky, a few have tried it. I mean, in terms of charging you, I mean, BMW have been in that game, haven't they?
Oh, do you want heated
And
seats for this month? Yeah, turn them on. Yeah.
yeah, and VW, I think, have been saying you don't get the full power unless you pay an extra £20 a month of your GTI.
Oh, they've done this in the past. They've done it in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I hope those things don't become the norm, because
I
it
think,
seems
yeah, I
really
think
sneaky.
it is. Yeah, yeah. It's not my,
Yeah.
not my favorite.
One other thing that came up was it doesn't have a parcel shelf, is that right? And people worry about this from a security
It doesn't.
perspective.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say is basically limo tint on that back thing, so you can't really see what's in the boot anyway through the rear glass. It doesn't have a parcel shelf. Now, they do offer a parcel shelf as an accessory in China, and if you go on AliExpress, I'm sure you can buy one. But it's not very big. It's a roller shutter that you're basically clamping obviously behind the back seats, but because of the angle of the rear, you got the rear tailgate like that.
Yeah.
You got the back seat here.
Yeah.
There's only a
Headrest,
small gap, I guess.
headrest here.
Yeah.
You've got that little sort of Pythagoras little bit there that you can fit it in. It ends up being about a foot deep, so it's
Right.
Not
it's,
So that's why they haven't got one. Yeah.
that's why they haven't got them bothered bringing it. Yeah, so I think you can get them on AliExpress, and it probably costs you like 40 quid delivered. So if you really wanted one, I'm sure you could get one. But and MG may well offer it as an accessory in the future, but it doesn't come with one as standard.
Yeah. And what about tow bars? Because with the MG4, that was quite involved. You had to cut the bodywork, install a wiring harness, get the tow bar, install the electrics. People were looking at £1,000 to get a decent
I
installation.
haven't had a quote for the tow bar on the IMs yet. I believe that they are going to be offered as a dealer fit accessory.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah.
Because MG stopped doing tow bars for its models for quite a while, and we had to just use third parties. But I believe they're getting back into supplying them again. So watch this space.
And I think it's rated for more weight than the MG4 as well, which I noticed was good.
Yes, I can't remember. I think off the top of my head, it's about 1,500 kilos, I think, or more. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the MG4 was only 500 and
Yeah.
maybe 50 or 75 on the nose. But anyway,
Yeah.
that does sound better. Well, that's pretty comprehensive. Anything else you want to know, Les, about the IM5 or the IM6?
No, I think they've covered pretty well everything on that for the time being. If it's there's a few more coming around, and we can perhaps have a go in one, have a try with one.
Yeah, well, and then
Les, feel free to come down to Chorley anytime, mate. You can have a test drive.
Thank you, Mark.
and well, we can hope we win the lottery and we can have one. I am thinking about it. I'm thinking maybe in a year's time, 12 months old, something like that. It would
Yeah,
be
yeah. I mean,
something
if you
I'd
think,
consider.
well, if you think you can buy a new one on Affinity now for sort of 31 and a half, or I think for
that is good.
for the high,
That is good.
for the long range rear wheel drive, I think it works out as about 35. So it's it's nearly sort of 10 grand off. It's that means that in 12 months' time, theoretically, you can get them under 30. I think it'd be a really competitive option at that point.
Well, we'll see what the residuals are, because just because the other MGs have depreciated a lot, it doesn't mean this one necessarily will. It could go more like a Tesla, which hold their value better. So we'll have to see.
I hope so. Yeah.
I guess it's too early to know that yet.
Well, I mean, to give you an idea, so on the predicted GFV after 4 years on an annual mileage of 8,000 miles a year, so with 24,000 miles on the clock at 4 years old, they're expecting that the standard range, the 75 kilowatt hour IM5, would have a final payment of 18.3. So that's the sort of predicted residual value they think it'd have after 4 years.
So that's just what 47%, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
thereabouts, off the list price. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's very similar to Tesla. You can pick a Model Y up now that's 2 or 3 years old quite cheaply.
Yeah.
They're flying all over. They're all over the place.
I don't know what it is, but I've never liked the Teslas. But I'm really taken by these IMs, and I don't think it's just because I'm into MGs. I'm trying to work out what it is. I do like because I've always been a kind of, I want my buttons. I don't like these modern screens everywhere. But having seen this, and I've yet to sit in one. But having seen this, I'm really thinking, oh, I'd really like that. Yeah.
It's a lovely car. It is. It's and I say in terms of the difference in quality between, for example, your MG4 or your MG5 Les that you've got at the moment, and Tom, you've got the MG4. The difference in the interior quality, the quality of materials, the quality of the infotainment system, and everything, it is poles apart. It is completely different vehicle.
In me, way back when I had a Jaguar S-Type, the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's similar sort of size style.
I had the V8 top of the range, electric, everything, leather, everything, memory, everything. Most comfortable car I've ever owned. Never had a car since. I'm not saying there aren't cars out there, but I've never had a car since that was as comfortable. But when I saw this, I thought that looks like it's as comfortable. That's what I remember. And I've always wanted to get back to that, but without paying the 22 miles per gallon.
Yeah, and the Jag prices,
In those days they were cheap. In those days they were cheap, but they went up a lot after that. Yeah. All right, great. Well, we've used our time thoroughly on the IM5 and IM6, so we'll draw it to a close shortly. But we just talk a little bit about our next podcast, because there's yet more new MG launches coming this year. Is that right, Miles?
Yeah, so mg.co.uk has been updated this last couple of days with a teaser for the new MG S6. So this is a larger vehicle than the MG S5 that's currently on there. And the MG S6 is basically, it looks like the MG S5, but it is bigger. So it's a longer wheelbase. It is, that's the teaser there. So it's... we actually know what this looks like because Euro NCAP released their latest load of testing results, and in it was a whole load of videos of the new MG S6. So we know what it looks like on the outside. We haven't seen the interior yet, but it's basically if you got the MG S5 and then put it on a photocopier and put 110%, that's pretty much where you'd end up. It's based on the same platform as the MG MG4 and MG S5. So as standard, it's going to have a rear-wheel drive system, but there is going to be an all-wheel drive option as well, a bit like the X-Power. I don't think it's going to be branded as X-Power, but it's going to be an all-wheel drive variant, and it's going to give you it was a headline figure that they told me the other day. I think 0 to 60 is about 5.5 seconds, something like that. So 5.1 seconds, 0 to 62, 5.1 seconds, the dual motor. It's going to have a 77 kilowatt hour battery as well, so up from the 64 that we get in the MG S5. WLTP up to 329 miles. So yeah, it's also, thanks to Euro NCAP, we know it's got a 5-star safety rating. So watch this space. It's due for launch in November. Cars should be in dealerships as demonstrators by the end of November, and customer cars should be here by the end of the year. So it's an exciting launch. And I believe there's some new cars coming next year as well. I don't know where we're going to put them all. We're going to need a bigger dealership. But we've got some more MG models coming early next year as well.
That would be potentially the new small MG electric car.
That as well. So we've got a 7-seater EV due.
Oh, right.
We've got a new version of the MG4 with a facelift interior. Interior, giving better interior. The MG4 that was launched in China, the complete rehash, different car completely, is going to be launched in the UK as well, concurrently with the existing MG4.
Right, so there'll be two. And we've got. Well, they have this. We don't know the names and everything yet, but there'll be.
No, and we've got an MG2 on its way as well. Yeah. So we've got a lot of new cars coming, and I don't know where we're going to put them all, but it's exciting that we're going to have such a wide range. You know, when we first started this podcast back in the day, there was just the MG ZS EV. And the other cars that they offered was the MG3 petrol and the MG ZS petrol and the MG HS petrol. So we've now gone from having 4 cars, well, 5 if you include the MG ZS petrol, 5 cars as an option to, you know, getting on for sort of 10, 12 more options, because they've all got variations of, you know, hybrid, plug-in hybrid, on things like the HS as well. So, and on the ZS. So we've got a lot of choice.
Think of any maker that's had as many launches, you know, even Chinese makers included. It doesn't.
No, there's been a lot. There's been a lot.
It's really good to see the strength in the MG brand. I think, you know, that they've got the confidence to launch so many different models. Because, you know, when we took this franchise on back in 2017, they were selling a couple of thousand cars a year. And now they're in the top 10 manufacturers by sales figures.
And wherever you go, wherever you go today, you've got to drop. You'll always every 5 minutes you pass an MG something or other. ZS, HS, whatever. There's loads. I mean, there's 3 HSs in my street alone here at the moment now. All turned up in the last 12 months.
Great. So we will have a forthcoming podcast on the MG S6 once details are available. So that will be coming soon. And also we asked you on the forums for your feedback on MG service and after sales experience. We haven't had time tonight, but we will come back to that too and discuss your views and questions at a future date. So lots to look forward to. Great. So we'll close it for tonight. Just remember, you can vote again in our forum poll to decide the topic for the next podcast using the link in the video description. And you'll find the audio version of this podcast on all good podcast providers. Just search for MG EVs Community Podcast. That's it for us tonight. Many thanks to the volunteer moderators who keep the forums running smoothly, Olb, Coulomb, Rolf and MG Clive. And many thanks from Stuart to the podcasters who dedicate their time to share their wisdom with the community. My personal thanks to Les and Miles tonight and to Stuart. And if you found the podcast useful, please don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe to be notified about our future podcasts. Goodbye, folks. See you next time.